Hello again, traders. Right, this BTC trade, it's only demo, but I always trade demo and pennies as if it was live real money. So this is like 1% of the trade left running now. I took 99% at 4,000, roughly, well, just short 3,800 points. But I was all fired up this morning about making videos. Then got a call to go out with friends. Did that. Made a few muffed up videos, so gave up this morning. But it's really important to me. I've put together this BTC template, and basically, people may well, or crypto coin template, but I only bother with BTC. Basically, people look, well, how can you talk about correlation on all the cryptos? They all do different things and are different things to different people, but we're not really trading crypto. All this, I added UJ to an original template, then messed it up, posted something on Twitter without UJ. But basically, an important point for me in my head, and trading is all about what's in your head, is that the cryptos we're just trading against, in these ones in particular, all you're trading is US dollar, strong dollar, weak dollar. And my view on cryptos is they're the spreads are stupid on them. Why would I bother? B, they're super speculative. They're just toys. I would not trade them with real money. Well, I don't know enough about them. But having said that, anything that is hyped up and lied about as much as the cryptos are, have to be a dodgy thing to trade. I mean, we're talking, people were saying it was going to go to 100,000 back in 2021, 200,000, and these guys had 200 millions of followers, actually, some of them, combined multi-millions. It was just a scam. And loads of them have been jailed and outed and disappeared and all sorts. It's just ludicrous. So why bother? Having said that, at the weekend, they're a great teaching, learning tool, and absolutely fantastic for learning. I'm learning all the time. I learn all the time. And as I've said a couple of times or a few times on Twitter, I actually find studying charts now an absolute stress reliever. I miss it so much. So, I've got probably 20 years chart study and 60,000 hours chart study, way over that probably, under my belt, because I do it instead of watching rubbish on TV and box sets and things. Exercise is my other wind down, and charts and exercise. It's just and food and socializing. It's just a dream life for me, my perfect life at my stage in the game. So anyway, back to this. The main point of persevering with this video for me is that I look at all these candles with traditional views, like dojis, hammers, inverted hammers, shooting stars, all that lot, and then all the 3 candle patterns and various candle patterns that you can find on baby pips and such like. But one important thing that I don't mention very much or enough is that I also look at, if it doesn't do that, it'll probably do that. In other words, if this does not reverse to the downside, because it is a shooting star into supply, so there's massive supply area, and it's got divergence on the monthly, there and there, and this new observation on this particular chart, I just happened to notice, and another reason for this video, another reason I wanted to make a video first thing this morning, this I found really interesting. Green, what happens? Big green candle at a level, it broke a level of supply here, of course. It reverses. Then we have a big green candle, then it's red, big red as well, not little. Then we have a big green candle. I mean, obviously it's a doji and uncertainty, wicks either side. What happens after it closes the next month? It is a massive down move. Then we've got 2 green candles, so it breaks that rule. But after a red we get green. This did pull down, you know, halfway actually, over halfway from the top, the high. So halfway down would be about this point here. That would be interesting to see. I won't put the line on it, it's not unnecessary. But that would be back to test that wick high, and that would be 50% of the candle. That is a monster move. I don't know, 20,000 points or something like that. So just another little observation. So I look at candles in a totally different way, sort of outside of the box, and that's the whole point of this particular video, is to show you this. And look, even with two green candles, two greens and a red, two greens and a massive red. You know, it's not always like that. We've got 3 greens here, so that would break that rule, but that's not particularly big, that candle. And no, you know, this is years ago as well, isn't it? Back in COVID times. So I never stop. The charts never stop fascinating me, and especially when you have enough experience to understand that all the stuff that Baby Pips and all the books that are written about candles can be rewritten with a different set of goggles, thought processes. And that's the point of this too. All of these, you know, we're just trading against the dollar. You know, that's why I like correlation so much. And what else was I going to say on this one? I know it's going to be a rambler. Oh, quickly, in case you do get to this point, you're still listening, and you're struggling with volume, Firefox has got some sort of bug going on. I've researched it, and it has some sort of effect on various people's volume for some reason. And if you use another browser, you'll find you can hear me perfectly. So apologies about that. And Firefox, I can't, you know, just don't use it, or don't use it when you're watching my videos or whatever. You know, I use 3 or 4 other browsers as well. So volume is fine on all the other browsers, just Firefox is the problem. Back to charts. So we have this weekly chart, whatever you want to call it. And obviously this candle has not closed now. That's another thing worth mentioning. Cryptos, we're on a Saturday, cryptos don't close until the Sunday night, and that's when that weekly candle will change. This could fill up. It could, you know, anything can happen. Traditional ways to trade hammers, look, that's a hammer there. Trade the break of the high. Traditional trade, an inverse hammer. If we might need to zoom in, you can't see, that's a hammer. An inverse hammer would be trade the break of the low. But you know, we don't worry about that anymore, because I'm not waiting for breaks of hammer highs and lows. I'm using the lower time frames to attack that low, and then, you know, you could just say to yourself, well, actually, I've traded this down there, and now if we get a valid signal with the break of the low, I would not trade it, just hit it and hope. Obviously, I trade using the 1 minute chart for my entries. So we've got a load of ways of looking at this, but the point I'm trying to make is, if this doesn't start to reverse to the downside to attack this huge, remember these are weekly charts, huge supply and demand battleground area where the candles close and open, excuse me. If it doesn't get down there, or if it starts to break up, then we could start to think, change our bias to this being a very, very strong signal that they are using price discovery, as it were. I haven't used that phrase for a long time, but they are just testing to see whether we've got more buyers in the market, you know, and all we need is a valid break of the weekly high. And obviously we'd use the daily candles, see what happened the previous day, day's close, as I say, so Sunday night's close. You know, you build up a picture of all these things, but never ever marry a notion. That's also very important. So, you know, if this doesn't go down, break down and go down, I'm not worried. If it does, fantastic, and then I'll follow my rules. Every single rule that I use all the time, 3CR strategies, as it were, every single rule I will use to consider trading this down. Now, if it just pops down and then starts to look like a valid reversal to the long side, I will use that bias. I will say, right, okay, this shooting star is a failed shooting star, and I should start looking for every multi-time frame reason to trade that long. And this doesn't just work on the monthly and the weekly; it works on the 1 minute time frame and every other time frame in between. If I cleared all this chart down and hid the time frame, you could not tell the difference between this and a 5 minute chart. Simple as that. I've done it before years and years ago on Twitter. It is that is what I have to. Well, I don't have to now. I don't have to keep reminding myself now. But as a new trader, it was something that I wasn't even remotely aware of. You know, I see things on these charts and these indicators of mine. I mean, for me personally now, this is my ultimate set of indicators. But remember, I have studied them in on their own. Can't think of the right word. Each indicator. So I've studied SS support and resistance until my eyes bleed. I kindly Aaron built the Rebel Amp 3CR indicator, and I studied 3CRs before he built the indicator for us. Thanks, Aaron, as always. And I see them in my sleep, and I know what they are telling me. They are battlegrounds, and they are such significant levels, historically too. So this 3CR is a historic important level. And look what happens when the price came down to it. It tested and bounced. It came all the way down to that blue level there. This is the 3CR up. Came back and tested it. And it pushed all the way back up again. Did a little stop hunt or whatever at the top, liquidity grab, whatever you want to call it. Look, it's broken the high of that one with that wick on that red candle there. And then absolutely crashed. So it found the stops for all the highs. And, you know, why that may well happen back up here. You know, this is a weekly candle. We're in day 2 of November. There is so much that can happen for weeks and months, well, weeks and weeks rather, let's put it that way, inside November. I mean, it just fascinates me, but it's important to me because it was part of my learning curve. You know, I've got the pivots on here now. I studied pivots and tried to trade pivots with umpteen different methods, because like every trader, we try every trader's method. We're looking for the holy grail that isn't there. The holy grail is your brain, training your brain to deal with massive wins and overtrading and losses. And you know, as I always say, don't trade real money until you can trade a demo trade for a year or two or whatever. One demo. Don't just crash one in a day and do it again, or don't just blow real money accounts and start with 50k and think you can earn 10k a day, and then you realize you can't, and you reload it or lose the lot, or start with 25k and think you can earn 5k a day or whatever. All these risk reward ratio rules, all these percentage risk rules are all absolute bollocks, excuse my French, for numerous reasons. Just take hold of yourself, give yourself a slap, and just learn the skill before using real money. That's all you're doing. You wouldn't get in a car with no lessons at all and just fire up a 5-litre Mustang or whatever and then go hell for leather. That's what you're doing if you're loading up a live account with 10 or 15k or whatever when you have no clue what you're doing. So anyway, sorry for that little rant and preach, but back to this. So I've studied everything I've used. You know, I had Sonic Dragon, it's lovely. but I prefer pure candles. Everyone thinks I'm an indicator junkie, nut, whatever. I'm not. I'm a candlestick trader, but I realise the value of indicators. You know, you can find value. This TMA I absolutely love. If we look at H4 on some of these pairs today, it gave me an idea of what BTC might do. So we've got BTC on H4, and it's you know, showing bearishness, red candle, wick, and all that lot, breaking out of these three H4 candles, and but the TMA doesn't show us much at all. But if we go to some of the other pairs like ETH, TMA has turned red, you know. So that then tells me that if that's red and we're trading against the dollar, if that's closed red, then we're likely to move again. That is how I use, that's ETH, DOT was the same, I think. Yeah, DOT had closed red, and look at that massive move down there on that next H4 candle. You've got to be quick. I mean, you've got to be looking at this when it actually closes to catch that move using all the 3CR rules, and not many people understand the importance of that. But then we're talking about the correlation side of things as well. All of these, you know, this is screaming short, this is screaming short, and that is telling me this is screaming short, that's screaming short. That is telling me that I should not think about, simple as that, I should not really be thinking about considering going long on the king of the crypto scams, you know. So that's it, simple as that. And it will be interesting to see whether what happens if this follows the rules. The power is dropping off substantially, but there are conflicting ideas here, and obviously, you know, BTC is a cult, and you've got all these millions and millions of scammers and pumpers, and they used to be called pumpers, didn't they? Trying to get BTC, push BTC up for their own reasons, for whatever reasons it is. So there you go, guys. Another look at simple observations. Oh, looking left is always, you know, I watched one of my own old videos about looking left the other day, and that is so powerful. I used to draw all these blue boxes on things and say, look, if you know, M15 does this here, then that's what we need to wait for over here, and so on and so forth. So it is just that simple, you know. We shouldn't really consider going long until we have a new green bar. Well, we'll have to wait all of November to see whether that happens, but on the TMA, I mean. But on the weekly, well, you can see that was the trigger to consider. That's the strongest trigger to consider waiting for longs. And as you can see, so you've got your green TMA on a weekly. You've got a week's worth of pullbacks. We've talked about that. It's not showing the 3CR there on Aaron's indicator, but that's the 3CR. That would be my fault, not Aaron's fault. The indicator is absolutely priceless. You can see what I'm looking at anyway. I've no idea. My mouse has got itself in a funk. That is the penultimate low. That's the ultimate low. That high and the close above is the new 3CR up. That is the pullback. Oh, there we go. Just taking it to that high there. That is the pullback. Tested the old resistance or its significant resistance. Notice it didn't just stop at that high. Although if I was selling on this, I would definitely want to take my profits just before the high of that. But it, you know, you can only see this 10,000 times and you realize it's a thing. And look at this one here. I mean, that 3CR pulled back deep into the previous candle and tested the recent resistance, as I was just talking about, the candle's high. I mean, you couldn't make this stuff up. And then that was the push to the north side. So break out of the high of the pullback candle, everything's good. And this was the trigger, break out of the high, the following green. So what can I say? It's just, look, 3CR, or at this instance, it was an engulfing 2CR down. And where does the price come back to? Just to, it's not tested that level, but, that's the scalper heaven there on a weekly chart. It's just crazy. Anyway, guys, apologies for any little rants that might upset people, but, we all have a view. There is, in my opinion, investing in these things is a joke, unless you understand the fundamentals. I mean, obviously, this in cryptos, the fundamentals are massively important, which is why I wouldn't trade them in the week, and I don't trade them. I'll never say never. Never ever say never. I learned something about Tesla yesterday from a random thing in my YouTube feed. Blew my mind away, actually. Blew my mind. And it just shows you, all of the different facets of trading, whether it's cryptos, whether it's various stocks. I chose to specialize in candlesticks. I don't need anything else. Oh, this was a random thought that came into my head. If you're still watching, thank you, or listening rather. This is a random thought that came into my head this morning. The importance of understanding what other people think about, and the importance of also avoiding what other people think about. So you have to specialize. I specialize in candles, and I actually physically avoid every bit of news I can. I physically avoid, when I see myself looking at some of what I know are fantastic chartists and fundamentalists, people that study the DAX, people that study multiple charts on Twitter that I follow, I have to avoid them like the plague, because they create problems in my head that I don't need. They create a distraction. They change my bias, my view. So the point I'm trying to make is, choose your speciality, whether it's fundamentals, whether it's cryptos, whether it's candlesticks. I wouldn't advise picking on one instrument, although, I mean, obviously you can learn gold and be an absolute superstar in gold, but that then means understanding every fundamental bit about the miners, about various macroeconomic things and all that lot, whereas I'd just rather look at this hammer or inverse hammer and say, well, if it doesn't do this, it will do that. If it does this, it will do that. Where is it on the charts? What's going on with the other pairs that are related, so on and so forth. That is my speciality. It works for me. And as I say, I never say never. So you choose your speciality and make it work for you. But sitting in other people's live rooms, hoping to catch a winning trade. What do you do when the live rooms close and you're working on adrenaline, or you want to take an extra trade? Or what do you do if they close down and go? You've got to start all over again. Learn to trade yourself. Learn to trade your speciality and work out why it works for you and what are the pros and cons. Again, I've gone on and on again, but I said it was a ramble. I've got a habit of doing that. The whole point of this is that if you get one word can change a trader's life. It's happened for me. It's happened for many of my trader friends. It can make the world a difference. So, never close your mind, unless, of course, you've found the Holy Grail for you and you don't need anything else. Then please, I wouldn't expect you to listen to me. I don't listen to loads and loads of people that I used to listen to. There's no need now. You grow out of it. That's your natural progression to becoming a profitable, confident trader. So have a great weekend. It's Saturday night, and I'm glad I got this video done, because when I start and fail, I have to just continue, or I have a bad feeling if I don't make that day's video after a lot of failures. All right, thanks again. Have a good day, weekend, and all the rest of it.